Greetings. We are moving into fractions this week, and we're so excited about that. You're going to use fractions your whole life. When you're cooking, when you're building things, almost always we are adding, subtracting, multiplying, and dividing with fractions. And I know some of you are a little freaked out from fractions from fourth grade and just the wacky year we had, but I promise you we're going to make it very accessible. And I think you're going to end up really liking them if you're not a fan yet. So just a quick review to kind of get your wheels turning. We are looking, when we name a fraction, it's a ratio that compares the part to the total. And so looking here, one whole is one of those circles. I know that one of those pieces is a third because it takes 3 of them to make the whole. Remember, the top number of a fraction is called the numerator, and it tells you how many parts are being considered. And the bottom number is called the denominator, and it's telling you how many parts, equal parts, does it take to make up a whole. Now, sometimes we're going to need to make an equivalent fraction. In other words, name the same amount, but break it into different size pieces. You're going to implement something that in fourth grade they called the do-do rule. I like to call it the big sister, little sister rule, where whatever you do to the bottom, you have to do to the top. And you can only use multiplication and division. So if we have 1/3 and we have our little times 4 times 4, we can see that 1/3 is exactly equal to 4/12. Now, a little kid is going to think that 4/12 is bigger than a third because more numbers, higher numbers, usually means more, but not in this case of fractions. Also, as we start adding and subtracting fractions, we're going to need to take our fractions and sometimes convert our mixed numbers into improper fractions. You might remember this from fourth grade. So looking at this model here, I've got one whole, and I know those are fourths because it takes 4 of them to make a whole. Well, what would happen if I had 5 of those fourths? I would have more than 1. So I could name that amount as a mixed number, 1 whole and 1/4 left over. That's the more popular way to do it. Or I could convert that same amount and name it instead 5/4. That is what's called an improper fraction. It names the exact same amount. It's just chunked up in different size pieces. Remember, an improper fraction has a numerator that's bigger than the denominator. And a mixed number gets its name because it's a mix between a whole number and a fraction left over. So that kind of gives you an idea of where we're starting off this week. As you get more and more skilled with your fraction work, we will start building into what we're going to be doing in 5th grade, which is going to be adding and subtracting with mixed numbers. But before we do that, we need to be sure you have a really solid understanding about the fraction basics. So that's where we're going to start out this week, and I'm actually really excited about it. So hopefully we can get you excited about fractions too.